coming up at the end of September. So we'll be talking about all things to be expected from this year's Joy of Jazz. So much more also coming up a little bit later on the show. Our phone lines are open as per usual. You're more than welcome to give me a call on 086 000 2032, or you can send me a WhatsApp voice note on 061 410 4107.
It is time to experience spectacular football talent from 19 African nations. East Africa is on full vibration. From Tanzania, Kenya to Uganda, the pitch personnel are hungry for continental glory. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Witness Jan 2024 on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 from 2 to 30 August 2025. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Chasing the Sun is a 5-part South African sport documentary series. An inspiring story of the 4-time World Rugby champions, the Springboks. The journey of winning the Rugby World Cup, a behind-the-scenes look of how the green and gold team overcame adversity, divisions, and doubt to become world champs. In August, also available anytime, anywhere on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Okay, let's get the show on the road on this fine Wednesday afternoon. Did I ask if you're having a good day? Well, I presume you're having a good day, in fact. We're going to be in conversation now with parenting coach Ayanda Tijani joins us. We want to have a conversation around just, carting the kids to and from school. Not every parent in South Africa is in a fortunate and privileged position to be able to drive their kids to school, to do the drop-off and the pickup from school. But there's a vast majority of parents who have, that luxury and that privilege of being able to do that. And how do you utilize that time when you're driving your kids to and from school? Are you taking that time to bond with your children, to catch up on what's happening in their lives, to stay attuned with their experiences, like a bonding time? And if you're a parent whose kids actually use transport, a lot of children use transport for a whole host of reasons. They use transport to school. Are you aware of their experience in the transport? Do you ever ask them, how malume namhlanje udrive kanjani, nihambe right? Or katinjani your days with umalume this week? Do you ever just tune in to what's going on in that part of their lives? Ayanda, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Bridget, and hi to the listeners.
Thank you.
This is a great topic.
Thank you so much for the time. As always, we appreciate it. I mean, we've got over 12 million children who attended school in 2022, right? The 12 million of our population were schoolgoers. A good number of those, about 65%, are walkers, school walkers, but then a good number of those as well, 12%, are kids who get carted to and from by vehicles, whether private vehicles, whether abo malume, in fact, even more than 12%, whether abo malume, whether they're using the school transport. But there's a great number of children who use transport to get to and from school. It's almost just part of our being in our culture.
It really is. And I mean, there's so much that happens in terms of just social dynamics of whether they're walking home with their friends or you picking them up, and as parents, it's very important that we constantly have conversations with them. And I know it gets harder when they get into their teen years to really get them to disclose like what's been happening, how the day's been, what do they learn on that particular day, because, as our children get older, they filter what they can share with us. So it's really a great privilege if you are able to transport them yourself to school. But even if you don't, it doesn't take away the opportunity to say when you do get home later on, try and catch up and try and have an idea what's happening with your child, because it gives you an opportunity to give that teaching, that guidance, based on the experiences that they've had throughout the day.
And I think also I see, at least from observing, if I'm in the traffic at those hours going to gym, and I see the kids in the back seats of the cars with their moms and dads and guardians, and half the time, in fact majority of the time, there's no communication happening at all. Eyes are cast down. I'm assuming kids are on their phone. Mom and dad are preoccupied with probably running through the process of what must happen that day when they get to the office, and this and that and the other. So are parents consciously trying to tune in when they are in that confined moment in the car, and
Yeah.
trying to tune in to their children, because that's precious time?
Yeah. I think it gets a bit trickier if you're also trying to get work at the same time. How does your routine in the morning work? Can you imagine if you've been shouting and trying to get people to get out of the house at this particular time? By the time you do get to the car, especially if they're teens, there's not a lot of loving words that are going to be going around.
Yeah.
So it really works out better if you have been very strict in terms of just having a schedule or routine in terms of just getting ready the previous day, so that in the morning it doesn't get messy. And I can tell you, it gets very messy.
Right, but as you say, the onus is on the parent to try and figure out a routine that enables that parent-child bonding in these times. Because when you think about it, Ayanda, I mean, parents, especially in the urban metros in South Africa, they are working. They're at the office 8 until 6 p.m. on most days. They bring their work home. At work, they're completely honed in and focused on work. There's very little time. And with the demands socially that we have now, most parents even work on the weekends. There's very little time where focus time, where you can sit and reconnect with your children. And that 45 minutes in the traffic, once or twice a day, allows you that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's one of the really beautiful parts of it. And I mean, if you're able to fetch them and pick them up, you'll be fortunate as well if they come out of school at different times, because then you have that one-on-one time with them. And I think it's so important in terms of, like, when we speak about that guidance and that teaching moments that are very valuable for our children, when they get to share some of the experiences without overreacting, building the trust that allows them to consistently come back to us and tell us, oh, maybe whomever did whatever to me, or someone said something and maybe it hurt me. And then being able to just get into those details, give them that emotional vocabulary, guide them through how to react to these different situations. As they're going through those experiences and you're having conversations with them, this is this beautiful teaching moments, and this is where you get to know your child, like maturity levels, the type of language they use. You get to understand how they think. Bridget, one of my biggest concerns with a lot of the children that I work with, especially teenagers, we tend to be so, in terms of just talking to them about what to do, telling them how to act. As parents, we tend to forget that when our children are starting to get to those preteen years, we have to start removing the pedal on the foot so that they can start being more independent, start exploring their own ideas, start thinking in their own ways. And the sooner they can do that, the better. So that talking, I always actually make this example in this way. There's 2 stages in our parenting. Between 0 and you're 9, 10 years old, we are the frontline staff. We're running around. We're trying to make sure we remove fires. We're trying to make sure that they don't get hurt. But as they turn your 9, 10 years, this is where we need to engage more in conversations and start guiding them and helping them in their thinking, exploring their thinking, so that when they have some things that they're thinking that might be false, in terms of just their ideas.
Yeah.
We can help them think around those ideas. Say for instance, they're saying, even as adults, sometimes we have our emotions so messed up in that we think the wrong ideas. Someone who's a good friend who just says to you, but are you certain? Is there something that happened in the past that makes you think that way? Someone can just break these questions down for you so that you can just question yourself in terms of your thinking. I see a lot in our teenagers that I work with that, they don't have that because we don't have these conversations that are really helping them build themselves and become more in terms of just their self-identity.
Yeah. I want to go to a WhatsApp and hear what the parents' perspective is on this. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. If you want to send through a WhatsApp voice note or you want to send us a message, you're more than welcome to do so. Or you can give me a shout on 086 0002032. Usipo in KZN says that his 4-year-old daughter can tell almost everything Aunt Sane did on their trip. She can even, someone just opened it. She can even show me how she jumped in a driver's seat. So I'm presuming, Sipo, that Aunt Sane is the transport driver. Your kid takes the transport. And then we've got another one that came through that says, I transport my kids. And it's helped because I didn't know that my daughter is actually talented in singing. Got to find out when I transported them. And that's what we're talking about here, that it's focused time for you to be able to bond and get to know your kids at a different level. If you have the privilege of being able to privately drive them to and from school, but also if they're taking the school transport, that's another opportunity for you to be able to engage conversations with them. And it starts with simple questions, maybe around just how was the transport today? Or, what happened in the Kumbi or in Ansane's car today? If right, Ayanda?
Yes. And not so firstly, so there's like the opportunity to have them sing.
Yeah.
Sometimes our children say so much and they want you to focus on everything. So a really intelligent way to get them to do something, you can have them count to 100, you can have them count backwards, you can have them do the times table or sing the different nursery rhymes depending on their age. And then if you're an older, if your children use transport, and then later on, you can have conversations like, what was a really great thing that happened to you today? What made you sad? Don't always ask, how was your day? That's not really, they'll just say it's fine. You're not really trying to get them to express themselves, to think about it. So if you can have these different questions and play around with them, let's say, for instance, that something is happening tomorrow, or just say, what are you looking forward to in terms of what's happening in terms of your timetable this week? That's where you really get to know the nitty-gritties of your child, what they like, what they don't like. And I really want to encourage us, especially if we have them at that ages of 5, 6, 7, 8 upwards, to really allow them to start expressing themselves and start digging into the ideas. Where do those come from? What are their motivations? Because if we can get that right and just get them to be comfortable to express their voices from that age, it becomes easier as they grow into their teens. It's harder for us as parents because they get to express themselves to us, and that's the harder part of it. But as they grow older, they get into relationships, they go into their workplaces. Being able to know your voice, being able to be comfortable in your voice is so important. It helps you avoid so many of some of the toxic things that we see in our relationships. But the reality is we don't realize that it starts in the home. So we have to make space for it, and don't think of every conversation that your child is having with you as back talking. You can set the limit to say, here's how you're going to have a respectful conversation with me. You're going to say, ewe mama, or hi mama, and you're going to talk to me in a certain tone. Those are very important. But we have to allow our children to have their voices and to speak to us, because in the long run, it becomes a very important part of their identity.
Absolutely. Ayanda, as always, good advice for parents listening today. That is Ayanda Tijane. She's a parenting coach. For the most part, all the time, I'm in agreement with Ayanda, except for when she starts to talk about super gentle parenting. then she and I have our own little back and forth situation. But hopefully you got some great advice about how you can optimize the time in the car with your kids, and even if they're not in your car and they're using transport, how you can. And I like what she says about don't ask the question like I asked it to say how was your day, because you really will get an I'm fine. Ask pointed questions, like specific questions that enable your child to expand a little bit more about their life, their experience, what's going on at school with their friendship circles, what's going on in the transport, what's going on in community. And you'll be surprised at the things that you learn about your children. And I think sometimes also just be willing to sit in the discomfort of some of the answers that you get. You might just find out that someone's got a boyfriend and, a little 12-year-old crush, and you're not ready to hear that. But hey, you got to sit with it, right? It's just gone 1:30. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we're going to come back on the other side of this, and we're going to get into a Made in SA conversation.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the South African National Taxi Council says it has considered to introduce a formal route agreement system among taxi associations and various stakeholders to help mitigate taxi violence. The bail application of Katiso Katie Molife has been postponed to the 15th of this month by the Alexandra Magistrates Court north of Johannesburg. And American Chamber of Commerce President in South Africa, Kuseni Dlamini, says a lot should be done to reach a framework deal with the U.S. as it remains a key player in the global economy. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
So SABC Sports, by the way, is bringing you Chasing the Sun. It's a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, and it tells the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. You can catch the episodes every single Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2 for the highs, the heartache, and the heroics that made rugby history. And each chapter is streamed also on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere, with no subscription that is needed. So you don't want to miss out on Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines. It's an incredible documentary, by the way, if you haven't caught sight of it. It really, really is amazing. It's time for us to get into Made in SA.
Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle.
She was recently named the Bold Future Award winner, and her company addresses urgent environmental and social challenges through circular innovations and inclusive development strategies. Dr. Pindile Cebekhulu Msomi, who's the founder and chief executive officer of Hazila Group, joins us now via live streaming. You can see her beautiful face if you are logged on to our streaming portals on SAFM. How are you doing this afternoon, Doc?
I'm fantastic, Bridget, and how can I not be with you here?
I am great. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Congratulations, by the way, on your win at the 2025 Viv Clicquot Bold Woman Awards.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about, firstly, let's find out with the Hazila Group and the work that you guys do. Talk to us about some of that, because you're very much addressing, as we said, urgent environmental and social challenges. How are you going about doing that?
So Hazela Group is a multidisciplinary company that focuses on primarily sustainable solutions across agri, water, and renewable energy. So from the agri division, we run a hydroponics farm, meaning we do not farm on land, but we use an innovation called hydroponics for farming. And also another innovation that is new that we're busy piloting and TMing is an eco farm port, which also has an element of supporting some skills development within the green economy. And the reason it's aligned with the water and the renewable energy is solely the fact that those three, in my view, are quite linked in terms of how they work in. You cannot be a farmer without electricity, and renewable energy is the way to go. And you cannot farm without water, hence the water remediation services that we also provide.
Now, I think a lot of folks might be familiar with hydroponic farming. Still relatively new as a concept in the agri world, but one that seems to be gaining traction. What makes this so appealing, specifically from a South African perspective?
From a South African's perspective, and really is the fact that we are a sustainable option. Hydroponics is a sustainable option because we all know the challenges that not only globally we have as South Africa in terms of water. We do know that we have water shortages across the country, and for people who live in rural areas where farming, most likely traditional farming, takes place, are short of that. And hydroponics as a solution uses about close to 80-90% less water than traditional.
Very interesting. By way of, and I wanted to ask you, water remediation. Break it down for me. What are we talking about there?
So we're talking. There's various applications of how we remediate water, as the term says. Remediation is basically reuse, recycle type of thing. So you can look at grey water, for instance. You wash dishes, you bath with this water. We can be able to collect this water through formulating a structure within your home or within your farm to be able to collect this water, clean it, whether we're using UV lamps, whether we're using activated carbon, to make sure that the water can be reused to water your plants instead of you opening fresh tap water because it is scarce. And we look at also harvesting rainwater. When rainwater comes, instead of it just running down and then for days you're walking in a puddle, that water is then collected into your tanks and you can reuse that water at home or in your business if you're a farmer.
Yeah. Very interesting. Are we finding more, or is it something when you go out into your sector and your arena of work, are you finding more of an interest from young female farmers around using these new innovative ways for what they do?
Absolutely. Young female farmers and old as me.
Oh, you are not
Because
old.
when I did my doctorate, absolutely not. I mean, really, I've been 35 for the past 20 years, so that's okay. So I find that it's across the board, especially people who have a very, very deep-rooted passion on the two items, farming as well as environment, right? I find that when I was doing my thesis, when I was doing my research for my doctorate, which I completed this year in March, or rather last year, but graduated in March, I spoke to a combination of women from the ages of 25 right through 60 who are farmers. Yes, more so the younger generation, but I'm finding women who are in the sector of farming, even cattle farming, that are really battling with having water for their cattle when there's drought, who are saying, what technologies can we use to be able to get our water, keep it there, and we know that there is water for our animals for the next whatever months. So yeah, it's across the board, but more so in the younger sort of generation.
And just sort of as we wind down the conversation, the urgency as well, given the conversations we keep having in South Africa around sustainability, around sort of a more conscious use of the land, the urgency in incorporating these systems in the agricultural sector. How far are we? What needs to be done from a policy perspective, from a practical, tangible support systems on the ground for farmers? How far are we in moving that needle forward?
Not at all far, hey, Bridget. We are not doing as much as we can. And I tell you why I say this, because especially the farming, the water as well as the renewable energy side of things, I give support to other farmers specifically on that. That's the industry I support, even though I'm a farmer myself. But you find the challenges that I'm going to take an example of a discussion I had with a lady last week. People like your CSIR, your innovation hubs, etc. These people are supposed to be in what you call it in terms of government, the guys who are looking at innovation. But you find that the actual, I would call them advisors, that they interact with these farmers are not as clued up in terms of what the solutions are. You take an example, a farmer who needs support on a hydroponic system is told to do some sort of assessment that has nothing to do with what the actual core function of a hydroponic system does. So there's a disconnect. Government wants to get there, but they're not equipping themselves enough with the knowledge to be able to support people. Case in point, I attended an ARC, Agricultural Research Council seminar last year sometime. And in the room, there were academics talking about papers, which are great innovative things. But the people who are there, who are supposed to apply the solutions that they deem or think are going to make our country ready, were not in the room. So there's sometimes connect. So we need to start moving towards saying there's policy, there's government support in terms of these departments, but then who are the people who are beneficial, or rather users of these systems or beneficiaries, as it were, that we can be able to then sort of close the gap and the link.
On an individualized perspective, we often encourage, especially when we talk around food scarcity in the country, food shortage issues, and then we encourage everybody, even your balcony can be a little bit of a farm for you. How do we start getting the individual into things like hydroponics? Getting them to understand that, in fact, this can be beneficial at a small scale in your backyard, in your home. You can all be a little hydro farmer.
Absolutely. You nailed it. First of all, I know that the concept of hydroponics it is capital intense as a startup. One of the things that I'm currently piloting with communities of women in KZN, Free State, and just around the corner here in Orange Farm is what is called an eco farm pod, using a drip irrigation system that looks at gravity instead of applying a water pump. Because in hydroponics, you need a pump to circulate the water. But with the concept that I'm forming, it is modular, so you can either buy a 2x2, a 1.5x2, depending on how big your space is, made out of recyclable bottles, pallets, things that we want to throw away. And I'm saying this is together in such a way that you can just buy a 1x1 or a 1 meter by 1 for my corner and my balcony, spinach, 5 seedlings, herbs, 10 seedlings, and you grow your own healthy food. And obviously you have a choice again of not even adding pesticides. So there's a health element as well to be able to grow your own food.
Fantastic stuff, Dr. Pindile. Really doing some incredible work on the ground right there. And congratulations again as the Bold Future Award winner at this year's Bold Woman Awards. That was Dr. Pindile Kulu Msomi. She's the founder and chief executive officer of Hazile Group. It's just gone 22. We're going to take a quick pause and then we come back and we get into matters of the arts.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Bafana are confident they can defeat the West Africans. Meanwhile, the national elephants want to step their foot down and walk away with victory. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Be part of the thrilling action. South Africa clashes with Guinea on Monday, 11 August at 4 p.m. Live at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
3 people, one of them's a mother, they've been arrested after a viral video surfaced. And what did it do? It showed the mother not just using this drug-laced glass pipe. According to that video evidence, she then appeared to light and hand over and get the child to smoke as well. It is like almost unthinkable.
Well, it's not even unthinkable. It's inconceivable. It's an enigma. One cannot understand how a biological mother can subject her child to this gross form of violence and violation. It constitutes physical abuse.
Dr. Shaida Omar, Clinical Director at the Teddy Bear Foundation.
Ashraf Gada on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Stages, pages, screens, and more on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
I was literally saying it took my team 7 minutes to settle. We've got joining us in studio for Stages, Pages, Screens and More, Tato Dweba, who is the current F&B Art Prize winner, an artist, a lawyer and a social sciences researcher. Also joining us, Mandla Sibego, who needs no introduction in the world of arts and culture. And he is the managing director and founder of the F&B Art Joburg. Good afternoon to both of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
I mean, you know, like it's not your moment, Mandla. It's not your moment.
It really isn't.
Like,
hey?
let's find out from Tato, you know.
Tato flew all the way from Amsterdam.
All the way from Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Really?
All the way to meet Mandla.
Just to meet Mandla. I'm sure he's got you busy. Well, listen, congratulations
Thank you so
with
much.
winning this very coveted award. You know, the obvious question is to ask the significance of this recognition for you as an art practitioner.
I mean, as you say, I'm a lawyer by training.
Yeah.
And only in the pandemic did I start practicing art.
Oh.
So to receive this award, like 4 years later, is
Yeah.
so amazing. But also coming from Lesotho, you know, I think this is such a good opportunity to show the world what we are made of. We don't usually get recognized on such high platforms in the art world. So I think this is not just for me. I think it's for the country and the
Yeah.
artists there who are working so hard
build something.
And that's an interesting point, right? Because I think a lot of people, when we think sort of the art sector, especially on the continent, there's a few regions that folks might automatically gravitate towards. South Africa and Nigeria, who've built really strong traction. But we're finding that Lesotho, Botswana, and Namibia, there's really a strong community that's coming up in the art world.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be surprising because Johannesburg, for example, is made out of these nations. And Johannesburg culture is a culture of African migrants. And so the fact that there's such a thriving art ecosystem in Johannesburg should mean that there's so much more talent where these migrants are coming from. So I think we're not short of talent. I think we're just short of opportunities.
And I think that's a nice segue for you, Mandla. Mandla Sibego, being the founder and managing director of the F&B Art Joburg. And you've been running Art Joburg for close on 2 decades now. You're coming up very soon.
Well, it's not entirely 2 decades. It was actually, credit must go to my predecessors who actually started it. I think I've been there through the 8th edition. So I've been there for a number of years.
For a number of years
time.
now.
It is a long
See,
time.
even in my mind, I think you were one of the founders because I just associated with you.
Absolutely.
But to Tato's point about, creating these avenues, Art Joburg has done a great job at doing exactly that, not just for artists in South Africa, but creating a platform that can be exploited and that can be utilized by creators continentally for the business of art.
Absolutely. So we realized quite early on in terms of our mandate that we really wanted to make sure that we become a Pan-African fair, that we become a platform for Africans by Africans. So a lot of the work that we do is around that. But we also looked at where we are, that we're in Johannesburg, as Tato said earlier. So there are all these amazing nations that live here. So content is not the challenge. It was really trying to get locals, people in here to start supporting what we do. So we also realized along the way that an art fair is not enough. Got to do more than that. So we started a patronage program with young people, with BMW, which really empowers young executives to learn more about art so they can be empowered, just like the predecessors. I mean, Tato just spoke about the migrants who live here, but we haven't even spoken about who are the landlords, the people who actually built the city. Those are the people who built the art infrastructure in Johannesburg. So the question is, now that they're gone, Joburg is not a mining town anymore. What is this generation going to do? So our job through the BMW Young Collectors Co. has been to empower executives who are sitting across different power platforms to become aware of culture, the importance of culture. So that's been one of our missions. And then the other thing is that Johannesburg as a city has such a terrible reputation around the world. Not only in the world, but in other provinces, other people in other provinces. And even Tato said, Joburg, people are scared of Joburg. It has the worst reputation. So through Open City, we started a program to indicate or to showcase that we are an open city. So those are programs that are associated with the art fair and what we do, so that there's room for everyone. But also we could work with other genres of artists, because Joburg has given birth to so much. The music industry, I mean, the cultural side of Joburg is like so upbeat.
Absolutely. And that also speaks to, I think it speaks to the evolution of the business of art, right? As much as Tato, you've entered the game 4 or 5 years ago.
How's that for you? From someone who quit law, a PhD in law.
You quit law to focus on visual arts?
Yeah, I ghosted them.
She quit PhD in law?
I quit in my 4th year. I just needed to wrap up, but this was more urgent.
This was more urgent.
It was more urgent.
And interestingly, I mean, in the press write-ups, right, the jury that is involved in selecting the art prize winner pointed out the fact that your practice in this time has lent itself to an authenticity, right? Mandla said something about in a world where we are seeing a lot more surface leveled engagement, your work brings it back to authenticity and a realism. Talk to us about that a little bit.
I think it has a lot to do with this background I have in law. I feel very much like I'm still practicing law, but my production is art because my thinking hasn't changed. It's still the way that I see the world, and it's still the way that I judge the world. And so I think I bring a lawyer into the art space, and I think that's what's feeling new. I don't think it's new, but I think it's feeling new. But also I'm obsessed with photography, and I'm obsessed. I always think about what do we do with images. Images have been very important in terms of creating narratives and positing realities. And in a way, I think it's very similar to law, in that law is also a tool that's made to make a society. And so I think that images are what we can use to unmake society and to create the kind of world that we want. Because I don't think politicians alone have the responsibility to lead us to a certain kind of destiny. And I think this is where artists come in, and people of different professions. I think we need to all bring in what we know, what we've learned, what we've experienced, to imagine this new world where we can all exist freely.
That's such a poignant point, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So powerful, and that's exactly what you see in Tato's work. It takes you on a journey, it makes you pause, but also you can relate to it. You can relate to it. The images, when you look at them, it makes you think back to things that you've forgotten about your journey, of how we got here. Like many of us have had to transition, since some of us a little bit before 1994. So we actually grew up before the regime had changed. And then you start to think back, and you're like, all these happy memories and all these good times that we all had, and all these the challenges that have come as well, with democracy. So it's and also just the mere fact there were no borders. I mean, her work is borderless. It speaks to like references and Lesotho to South Africa to everything else, and that's what I found, for me personally, quite powerful. Is that Tato represents an exciting generation of Africans who, not just from an artistic perspective, but people who are taking control and taking charge around how Africans must be represented and spoken about.
Oh, no, absolutely. I think for me, it always goes back to this resounding question from my years at a different entity, where I was preoccupied with answering, who would we have been had we not been disrupted?
Yeah.
Had we not been colonized, had we not been forgotten, marginalized, what would be our identity and the essence of who we are as Africans, and how would we express that from a creative perspective?
Yeah, but also who we are now that we were colonized.
Yeah.
I think for me that's an interesting question, because, I mean, you look at Johannesburg culture, it's a culture of survival, and this is what people maneuvering and finding their freedom in the midst of unfreedoms. And so I'm interested in that kind of shape-shifting, and that maybe what we would think like Tsotsi culture, Zama culture.
That brings us to Lesotho.
Yeah, because I think Lesotho is it's a migrant nation, and we are very much used to going to Zama. I think this is why we have that identity. But I'm interested in that because I think this is a production of who we. I don't think we should be ashamed of having been colonized, because we didn't colonize ourselves. But also we should take cognizance of the fact that this is a reality that we went through. And I think I also was obsessed with the question of who would we have been, and I realized, this might be moot, because you could ask a lot of what-if questions. But we could also look at reality and take a lot of pride in what we have made in surviving.
Absolutely.
And I think for me, this is kind of like what I'm obsessed with now.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish we had more time, but we literally have like a minute and a half. So, Magda, I mean, Art Joburg is coming up in a matter of weeks, and unite the entire city around it. Let's touch a little bit about, how artists should be thinking about the business that they are in right now and maximizing on it, and then give us some highlights of what's coming up this year.
No, great. First and foremost, I think we should really push our competitive positioning as a nation. South Africa, the continent, we have so much to offer. in terms of, like, the material is so interesting, the people are so interesting, and we're so different. What to look out for at the fair? It's really a journey. It's the biggest collection of African art in one room. There are over 14 countries from the continent coming. We have a program that starts earlier, which looks at that intergenerational dialogue, which is called BMW Art Generation. So we do have a very packed program for Joburg people, from literally from the end of August right through to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, when the fair takes place. So there's just so much that one should embrace, and and just celebrate our artists. And what's exciting is that a lot of the work you will see at the fair, those are young artists from the continent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tato, congratulations
Thanks
to you
so
once
much,
again.
Bridget. Yeah.
Looking forward to just watching you grow in the space, and then I can say, oh, I met them when they were still relatively new, but having won the art prize. And Manja, always a pleasure.
Soon.
Listen, I think already the piece is going to command quite a handsome prize. We're going to go into the 2:00 news, and then we'll come back on the other side of this. While we're still on that artistic tip, we're going to catch up with the producer of the Joy of Jazz Festival that's coming up later on in September.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, Santaco to introduce a formal route agreement system, and Northern Cape motorists warned to exercise caution due to bad weather. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. The South African National Taxi Council says it has conceded to introduce a formal route agreement system among taxi associations and various stakeholders to help mitigate taxi violence. The council says it has become challenging to ensure accountability in many taxi disputes. This is due to the verbal route agreements used by taxi associations, which lack a documented paper trail. Western Cape Santaco chairperson Mandla Hermanus says this initiative will ensure that there are consequences for any deviations from the agreed terms.
The sharing has always been based on a gentleman's agreement between the association. So when the executives of the association change, new people come in, they don't stick to those gentlemen's agreements because those agreements were never formalized. So what we have said is that where the sharing of routes is happening, those agreements must be formal and must be signed on by the city, the province, Santaco, and those associations.
The bail application of Katiso KT Molefe has been postponed to the 15th of this month by the Alexandra Magistrates Court north of Johannesburg. Molefe and 3 others were arrested in Gauteng last month for the murders of Opa John Sefuga, popularly known as DJ Somebody, and 2 of his bodyguards in 2022. The state is opposing the bail application, saying Molefe is a violent and dangerous criminal facing extremely serious charges. Sasha Naidu reports.
The state has called on the court to deny Molefe's bail application, stating that he is facing very serious charges and that he is already out on bail for another murder case which is being heard in Vereeniging. The state also highlighted that they have proof that Molefe had direct connections with some of his co-accused who are believed to be hitmen for hire. The prosecutor further went on to state that they are in possession of cell phone records which indicates that Molefe was also in contact with one of his co-accused shortly after the murder of DJ Somebody. Sasha Naidu, SABC News at the Alexandra Magistrates Court.
Senior counsel Tim Brainders has defended President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to establish a commission of inquiry into apartheid-era crimes. This as the 22 families and survivors of apartheid-era crimes have accused government of political interference, obstructing investigations and prosecution of TRC cases. They have further argued that the establishment of the inquiry will further delay justice and closure. Brainders has argued that such an inquiry will establish why some apartheid-era cases were not investigated and prosecuted.
The passage of time between the establishment of a commission and any ultimate action to address the applicant's needs is likely to be lengthy and one fraught with many uncertainties. And the applicants can't be expected to put their case on hold in the hope that the Commission will finalise its proceedings speedily. All of these uncertainties will be resolved. They will obtain what is due to them as a result of the state's fundamental betrayal of its constitutional obligation to prosecute the perpetrators of apartheid murders.
Northern Cape motorists driving in areas affected by heavy rains have been warned to exercise caution due to wet and slippery conditions. No incidents have been reported yet, but drivers are cautioned against crossing heavily flooded roads and speeding. Heavy rains around some parts of the Namakwa district are expected to only subside in the early hours of tomorrow. Provincial Roads and Public Works Department spokesperson Zandisile Lupahla.
The Northern Cape Department of Roads and Public Works is urging motorists and visitors to exercise extreme caution as persistent heavy rains have affected several roads, especially in Namakwa and Francis Barth districts. Gravel roads as well as our regional roads have become slippery and hazardous. High-risk routes include the Kamiskruan Road as well as the Kubus Road in Namakwa district. Warning signs have been put in place and weather is expected to ease on Thursday.
The American Chamber of Commerce president in South Africa, Kuseni Dlamini, says a lot should be done to reach a framework deal with the U.S. as it remains a key player in the global economy. Pretoria has been slapped with 30% tariffs on its products to the U.S. This has also affected a number of countries seeking to seal a trade deal with America. Dlamini says America contributes a lot to South Africa's economy.
The tariffs are likely to knock down 0.2% from our GDP growth, which is quite significant. We are dealing with a serious economic emergency here that requires all hands on deck, requires all South Africans to work together to reset the relationship. The U.S. is an important trading partner. Our American Chamber of Commerce represents over 600 American companies invested in South Africa, collectively employing over 250,000 South Africans.
Recapping the top story, the South African National Taxi Council says it has conceded to introduce a formal route agreement system among associations and various stakeholders to help mitigate taxi violence. I'm Lambana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle.
It is Esperanza Spalding coming through with I Can't Help It. They tell me she's performing this year. She's on the stage this year, so it should be interesting. I mean, you would think I would remember every single artist that is performing at the Joy of Jazz this year because I was, announcing some of the stages at the launch a couple of months ago. But this is why we're going to touch base with Mantwa in a little bit, find out exactly what's coming up for the 2025 installment of the festival. Let's take a quick pause and then we come back.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival presents 3 unforgettable days deep in the art and heart of jazz. From the 26th, 27th and 28th of September, Umu Sankare, Abapemu, Jasmia Horn, Silent Moore and the Noisemakers, Najbonk Trio, Michelle Ndingio Cello, Willem Siini, Gabby Mutuba, and over 50 world-class acts will be ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
After a 2-0 loss against Morocco in the Chan opener, the Angolans are digging deep for their first victory. However, the hosts, Harambee Stars, are chasing their second consecutive win in their own backyard. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Be part of the action. Angola versus Kenya. This Thursday, 7 August at 6 p.m. Live everywhere, for everyone, always on SABC+. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
So, have you discovered the TV license WhatsApp yet? We see you binging on the reruns, living for the dramas, and of course loving the SABC Plus sports replays. However, now paying your TV license actually fits the vibes. All you have to do is SMS hi on WhatsApp to 077 60 69 060. Get your balance, make a payment, or set up a debit order all in one chat. There's absolutely no queues, there's no please hold. It's just convenience that feels like it should have been here all along, because every screen in South Africa is a stage and yours is lit. So why wait? Simply SMS hi on WhatsApp to 077 60 69 060 and get your TV license sorted out today. Hashtag your screen, your story.
Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle.
Okay, so we actually launched the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2025 edition earlier on in the year. I think it was around about April-ish, somewhere around there, late April-ish. When we were launching the 2025 festival, and we thought we would also catch up today with Mandwa Chinwamadi, who is the producer of the Joy of Jazz Festival, to tell us firstly about this incredible partnership that's also happening with ourselves and some of our other media colleagues and friends, as well as what's there to look forward to this year, because the lineup is smoking hot. How are you doing, Mantwa?
I'm good, and you? How are you? Are you back at work? I'm missing you.
I am back at work. I'm back at work just in time.
So congratulations to Joy of Jazz. Joy of Jazz.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk about, Joy of Jazz, because I was there April, hiding baby bump underneath some clothes and helping announce some of the stages and all the excitement that's happening. And everybody in the room was so excited about the lineup for 2025.
Yes, we are really honored and really, really grateful that every time we come up with a lineup, it's receptive and people, align with it. And we know that at every stage, we try our utmost best to have people like you from the media, listening sessions that are happening, jazz collectors, just to help us curate this beautiful lineup that will go out there and fit everybody's palate.
Absolutely, and you've partnered up with different stakeholders to bring the joy of jazz to life over the years. What have made those relationships so strong? Firstly, before we even get to to all the good stuff, but what have made those relationships so strong and ensured that year in and year out, the festival keeps coming back and keeps coming back bigger and better, catering to the needs and the palate of festival revelers?
When we sit down as a brand and get calls from partners who really feel and think they align with the brand, we always open ourselves to, tell us, where do you see the alignment? And it's always best that we don't go to people and say, we are this, we are that, we are that. We're saying, this is our brand. You probably have looked at it before you even came and approached us for, for a partnership. What is it that you want to do and elevate? It's always that partner that will come in your space and elevate your brand. So we can't go and dictate to them that we want this, we don't want this, we want put up banners. No. Tell us how you see yourself as a brand elevating the Standard Joy of Jazz. So at all times, we our IMC team is always in negotiations with people. If we don't see a fit, we'll come back to you and say, look, we don't really see a fit here, but can we tweak it a little bit to, so that it fits the brand.
And this year is like I was saying, when we got up there, and it was a room filled with festival appreciators, media practitioners, artists, creators. It was really just a vibrant morning out. And we were presenting the various stages for this year. Obviously, iconic stages, the Dipala stage, the Conga stage, as presented by Nikki B, the Dinaledi stage. Bongani Bengwa had the honor of unpacking that lineup, and the Mbira stage, Paul Mnisi from our sister station Radio 2000 telling us what's coming up there. There was not a single stage that didn't get a rousing round of applause from everyone in the room. It was ooh, ah, ooh. Like, people were really impressed with the lineup this year.
We'd love that people, every year when we come out, people are very happy with what we've been doing. And maybe, again, Bridget, is because we listen to people. We don't sit and curate a festival out of our own liking or our own favorites. Artists will approach us. Brands and media will come and say, have you heard this artist? Traveling South African artists have been doing the most. At every festival, they will be performing abroad. They will be talking about, do you know that we have a festival as big as this in South Africa? That's how we get interest. I mean, we get emails at all times. I heard from so-and-so, it could be on Duduzo Makatini, Tandintuli, Yobokani, that people go out there and really be ambassadors of this festival with pride. Because when they are performing with their counterparts, in the other countries, they also want to show off something that, we have a festival as big as this in South Africa. It's called this. And would you like to, And sometimes we get emails from artists saying, I've just seen this person performing, or even jazz travelers. I'm at this festival and I'm watching this act. I think you should bring it for the audiences in South Africa.
It's going to be 3 days of igniting the city at the end of September, bringing the heart of jazz to the city. 3 days. So many incredible highlights over those 3 days. I think... 3
days?
Yeah.
We felt like this 3 days, it's not even enough, Bridget, when you look at, the music that's going there and the music that we still, list that is still in archives, and we are saying to people, let's try next year. Let's do it next year. If we had it our way, we'll have a 2-weekend festival. We're getting there.
You're getting there. Two-weekend festival, you're getting there. 60 artists, over 60 artists, in fact. I mean, from a logistics perspective, for you and your team. We never talk about this, and I know I'm taking my time to get to the highlights of what's coming up and which stage SAFM is going to be taking over. But over 60 artists are coming. During that 3 days, and this is not just singular artists. We're talking ensembles, we're talking quartets. Everybody is coming with a somebody. How does your team? And you said at the launch you were proud that you led a majority female led team, female leadership team. How do you all manage to sort of get this machinery going and execute so seamlessly year in and year out, and considering the fact that every single year the festival is not stagnant, every single year the festival is growing, whether by number of days, by number of artists, but it's growing. How do you manage to just get that done?
Communicating. I can tell you now where I'm sitting. I'm sitting with my phone because I'm in 20 WhatsApp groups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching my emails. Any which way that we find easy and fast to communicate. What's the use of having a team that doesn't even do a checkpoint on a daily basis? So on a daily, we wrap up the day with that long, that 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock meeting that wants you to go and say, no, I'm taking kids for something. But we sit 6 o'clock every day, or 3 to 5, there are times allocated just for us to touch base, to say, where is this department and where is this department?
Wow, it's a mammoth task indeed, Mantua, and I think only sometimes some particular things require the woman's ability to multitask.
Oh, please! I've been saying
that. Let's talk about, and I think folks are going, okay, tell us about this year's lineup, because this year's lineup is really the creme de la creme of jazz, soul, R&B. It really is just the best of the best.
I wouldn't be fair if I were to jump into other stages.
Mm-hmm.
And the other stages, whoever is the producer of their programs must invite me to come and talk about their stages. I'm interested in speaking about the Dipala stage.
Yes.
I mean, the Baylor Project. Who doesn't know that? Hakan Basa, Simon Desert from Canada, Jasmine Horn, the Natchbong Trio, Pinda Matala. I mean, the lineup on this stage, Sia Charles, who's just been awarded the Standard Bank Young Artist for Jazz, is on that stage. National Greece is on that stage. I feel if you want to listen to singing, if you want to hear all those voices, please make sure that you go to the Palace stage.
Absolutely.
If you want to hear a pin drop when a piano player like Hakan Basa, I mean, he's 19. When a young boy like that from Turkey playing that piano, and you really are that kind of lover of that music, go to the Palace stage.
I mean, Dipala stage really reads like, as you said, the creme de la creme of jazz practitioners, and intergenerationally so as well, igniting all the senses from everybody. A lot of people were very excited about the Bella project coming through, and Hakan Basa, just to mention but a few. People really just started salivating at the mention of those names. And the Dipala stage also is the stage that we are going to be partnering with the Joy of Jazz on.
Yes, proudly powered by SAFM.
Lovely stuff. I love to hear it. So for folks that want to come through for the 3 days, let's get into the budgeting, because this is a good time to budget. We've just begun August. I know I'm seeing on the telly you've gone full out now with the call to action campaigns, just making everyone aware that come the weekend of the 26th at the Sandton Convention Center, the Joy of Jazz is going to be taking place. What kind of packages are available via Ticketmaster?
We have a 1-day ticket that allows you to all 4 stages. We have a 2-day package. And if you apply for your visas the way I do, you'll have your 3-day pass. So you can buy your 3-day tickets to the festival, and obviously those are discounted.
Yeah.
Standard Bank card holders get the opportunity to get the discount between 10 and 15%. So if you're a Standard Bank card holder, hey, there is your 15% or 10%, depending on the card that you use.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful stuff indeed. So you get that 1-day pass or the 2-day pass, or just go the full Monty and go for the full weekend pass, because every single day is a sensory overload out at the Sandton Convention Center. And you can log on to joyofjazz.co.za if you want to find out more information about who's on. Have a look at the schedule, have a look at the ticketing costs, and of course how you can maximize, if you're a Standard Bank card holder, enjoying that between 10 and 15%. Mantua, we're looking forward to seeing you in September, and of course I know before then there's always a gauntlet of events that happen as you build up to the official welcoming party for all the guests. We'll be there. We'll be there with my team for all the behind the scenes stuff. Looking forward to a great party, a great offering this year. And we appreciate the time with you.
Thank you so much for having me, and we appreciate the partnership with SAFM. Thank you.
Awesome. That was Mantua Chinwamadi, who is the producer of the Joy of Jazz Festival, and she's producing with her team the Dipala stage. She's also the CEO of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, so heading up that machinery right there. www.joyofjazz.co.za is where you can go to have a look at that offering. As much as she focused on the Dipala stage, which is the stage that is powered by SAFM this year, so we'll be out in full force to bring you all the highlights of that stage. But there's overall an incredible lineup. Esperanza Spalding is coming through this year, as well as Omu Sangara. So if you're a fan of Omu, we play a lot of Omu on the show, as does Patricia. If you're a fan of Omu Sangara, that's definitely on the cards. Michelle Dengocello is also coming through this year. I think Michelle Dengocello is returning for a second time, actually, at the Joy of Jazz Festival. Tandin Dooley is going to also be on there as a former Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Young Artist of the Year recipient. The Baylor Project is going to be on the Dipala stage, so you don't want to miss them. Amanda Black and Trezo, and the list goes on and on. Also, a lot of people are going to be excited about this. Jazz icon Winston Marsalis is Wynton Marsalis is coming through this year. Trumpeter, and of course is a Pulitzer Prize winner, you know this much. So he's coming through, part of the Marsalis legacy right there. He's going to be at the Joy of Jazz Festival. You don't want to miss out. Get your tickets before they sell out. joyofjazz.co.za is where you go, and we'll see you as the SAFM family at the Dipala stage. And of course my brother in broadcasting, Paul Mnisi, and the team at Radio 2000 are going to see you at the Mbira stage. They also have quite the rocking lineup ahead there for you. It's going to be very nice. 2:30 on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the ANC has resolved to look into broadening the 10-party pact. 10 political parties signed an agreement to form a government of national unity for the 7th administration. The South African National Taxi Council says it has conceded to introduce a formal route agreement system among taxi association and various stakeholders to help mitigate taxi violence. And the medical charity MSF says living conditions for nearly 400,000 refugees in Ethiopia's Gambela region are rapidly deteriorating due to significant aid cuts from key donors, including the United States. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM. This program is brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
SABC Education, in partnership with the Department of Health and Lilifa Labantwana, bring you episode 36 of the Side by Side drama season 4, focused on best start with breastfeeding.
Say and say. Side by side.
Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you, Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, Tina.
Tell me, baby, have you thought about when you want to go back to school?
Ish, I'm not sure yet, Ma.
Maybe you should stay at home this year. You can always go back to grade 7 next year.
And miss a year. All my friends would have moved on. You know how embarrassing that is?
Well, Mdanam, your friends are not about to give birth.
I know, Ma. Maybe there's a way in which I can catch up all the work here, at home.
I doubt that's possible.
But we went through school for almost 2 years learning from home during COVID.
You have a point. Okay. I'll speak to your principal about it. I think there should be options.
Thanks, Ma.
What is it?
It feels heavy down here, like the baby's coming.
The baby's coming? The baby's coming! Wait, baby, let me get your bag. Oh my goodness. Come, I've got it.
Ola, your latest results are impressive. You are doing so well with your treatment.
Thanks, Ness. My little girl, Klebisa, she's my motivation. Just like she needs her mother's milk to grow strong, I need my ARVs to stay strong for her.
Yes, it's a good comparison, Ola. Just as breast milk is essential for Klebisa's development, your commitment to your medication is vital for your own health.
Yeah, exactly. And seeing her thrive is a reminder that I can't let this virus beat me. I've got to be there for her every step of the way.
Now that's the spirit. Remember, adherence to your medication is key. Take them at the same time every day. Did you hear that?
Yes, Ness.
And with that mindset, you are setting a strong example for Klebisa.
Nespeliswa, the doctor needs you. Imange is here and it looks like she's about to give birth.
Oh, I'll be there just now. Listen, Kola, please excuse me. Now keep up the good work. I'll see you on your next appointment.
Good luck to Imange with the...
Right.
Wow, she runs fast.
here's your beautiful baby boy, Imange.
He's so little. The first milk, it's thick and yellow.
Well, yes, that's colostrum. It's packed with nutrients and antibodies. It's the perfect first food for him.
Look at him, Fanega Gogo. He managed to latch quickly, and he's feeding already. Look at him drink. Wow, Fanega Gogo.
That's right. It's a good sign. The colostrum will help protect him and clear his first stool.
Will this be enough for him?
Absolutely. Breast milk is all he needs for the first 6 months. It will quench his thirst and give him all the nourishment he requires.
How long should she breastfeed, Ness?
Well, Mommy, we recommend breastfeeding up to 2 years.
Okay.
But even few weeks can make a significant difference in the baby's health. So, Imange, the longer you can, the better for his development and immunity.
Okay, Nasfiliswa. I'll do my best.
Right. And that's all you can do. We're here to support you every step of the way, my child.
Oh, Imange, my baby. We're so proud of you. Oh.
Yeah. Now, Imange, remember, every drop of milk you give him is a gift of health and intelligence. And with that, he's off to a great start.
Oh, Fanini. Why is it good cook? Why is it good cook?
Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you.
Again tomorrow as we sit down with an expert at 2:30 to further discuss best start with breastfeeding, right here on SAFM.
Side by side.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives. Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, Think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
The Almoravids have a secret plan to steal the show from the hosts, but Taifa Stars are gunning for their second victory to delight their home fans. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch Mauritania versus Tanzania this Wednesday, 6 August at 7 p.m. Live everywhere, for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle.
All right, we are catching up now with the founder and managing director at the transformation firm and founder of the SMME Empowerment Summit, currently in Alexandra. Matsiya Mshe joins us on the back of an opinion piece that asked the question of whether or not big business has it backwards. What if it is big business that can no longer afford to underestimate the value and innovation of small businesses? So South Africa has over 2.5 million small, medium and micro enterprises that employ nearly 10 million people, and yet many of these businesses are still viewed by corporates through the narrow lens of being CSI or supplier development compliance. How are you doing this afternoon, Matsiya?
I'm doing very well, Bridget. Thank you so much for having me on your program. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the support and for listening, and of course for lending us the time. And I think firstly, let's just get some background as the founder and MD of the transformation firm, which was established back in 2013. Give us some base of the kind of work and the kind of focus that you lean on as the firm, and of course yourself.
Thank you for that. The transformation firm is a 100% black woman-owned business. We are a management consulting firm with a specific focus on, being an implementation partner with efficiency and effectiveness to our clients. We have grown in the space of enterprise and supply development as a direct response to what the market needs right now for business turnaround solutions, enterprise and supply development, that are programs that are geared towards, growing and developing our economy. So we started in 2013. So we're still in business more than just over 10 years later. We're grateful.
Oh, absolutely, especially considering the landscape that businesses have to operate in the country. You penned a piece that interrogates, I think, essentially the interaction and relationship between big business, big corporate, and SMME. Give us the base as to why did you decide to maybe cast a lens on this conversation?
As an entrepreneur myself, I realized that the way enterprise and supply development has been approached has been largely as a box-ticking exercise where corporates are like, oops, yeah, we have to comply, therefore let's do this, just to get the BEE points. However, I realized that SMMEs are actually an integral part of business, and perhaps big business needs to reframe, how they think about working and collaborating with the SMMEs, hence the creation of that opinion piece.
Where has the stumbling block been in this relationship? What would you view as being the problem with how big business approaches this, what should be a partnership and a collaboration?
It's when it's viewed as a grudge purchase,
where people don't really see the value of it, and they think it's something they have to do to just comply and earn BEE points. And so in that case, the initiatives are not very, they don't move the needle of transformation any further than it should. And so we find ourselves maybe 30 years later into our democracy, even with excellent broad-based economic development, economic empowerment policies that are very sound and should be very effective, but they are not. And it's really just the lens through which they look at it that is clouding them from the real opportunities that lie in that space of collaborating with SMMEs.
And in your piece, you also highlight just the unique positioning of SMMEs. Talk to us a little bit about that. What does that entail? What makes them a little bit better positioned to cater to the business landscape on the ground versus the larger sort of organization, and how perhaps a leaning into that can in fact be beneficial for big business?
Absolutely. So small businesses are generally run by entrepreneurs. And that's another discussion for another day, what it means to actually be an entrepreneur. And what it means is that they are resourceful, they are driven, they are deeply connected to the communities they serve. They often move with greater agility in comparison to the larger ones, to the larger corporates. And they are used to doing a lot more with very little. Solutions that are designed by SMMEs are often very localized and relevant to the markets which they serve. And they're very much in tune with the culture and context. It's not someone developing a solution where they are not vested in the process. They understand the real challenges and they design solutions accordingly. Yes, they're very much embedded in those markets.
And obviously this is vastly different, right, from no matter how much large corporations might at times think that they too tick those particular boxes. But it is a different and a nuanced sort of positioning for SMMEs. And how does big business then partner in order to maximize, tap into and exploit that in a way that's mutually beneficial?
Absolutely. Big business really needs to stop treating ESG as an isolated function, and they need to actually look at it as a collaborative effort, and they need to look at opportunities, to look at ways of sustainable and commercial development of, solutions working in close partnership with SMMEs. They need to understand that working with the SMMEs is not just doing them a favor, but rather a recognition that the future of business is intertwined with the success of small business. Another thing to look at is to actually ensure that by supporting SMMEs, the function of supporting SMMEs does not just sit with the ESD team, but it sits across the business as a priority for the business operations, procurement, as well as product development teams. So, and another thing that is very key, and a lot of corporates are already doing it and should continue to do, is to pay SMMEs on time, which this has a tremendous impact on their cash flow and sustainability. And another one that is very close to my heart is to look at giving retainers to SMMEs. In that way, they're able to build credit profiles that will allow them to access funding and to grow and scale their businesses. So, in a nutshell, co-create with these small businesses, involve them in pilot projects and innovation processes, And in that way, I think we will be able to see true transformation on the grassroots level that will actually translate into true broad-based Black economic empowerment.
Absolutely. I want us to just take a quick pause here so that we're not rudely interrupted by the commercial break. It's just gone 10 to 3 o'clock as we prepare to wind down the show. But we're going to take a quick pause and then we're going to come back and continue to explore this conversation that's centered around an opinion piece that interrogated the relationship between big business and SMMEs in the country.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Channel your inner warrior woman this August on Expresso as we celebrate and empower women across South Africa. From trailblazing heroines to inspiring entrepreneurs, we spotlight stories of strength, resilience, and change. Join us for powerful panel chats, wisdom, wellness, and bold conversations on equality, GBV, and women's rights. This Women's Month, rise with the women leading our nation forward. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. only on S3.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Three people, one of them's a mother, they've been arrested after a viral video surfaced. And what did it do? It showed the mother not just using this drug-laced glass pipe. According to that video evidence, she then appeared to light and hand over and get the child to smoke as well. It is like almost unthinkable.
Well, it's not even unthinkable. It's inconceivable. It's an enigma. One cannot understand how a biological mother can subject her child to this gross form of violence and violation. It constitutes physical abuse.
Dr. Shaida Omar, Clinical Director at the Teddy Bear Foundation.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
We are in conversation with founder and managing director at the transformation firm and founder of the SMME Empowerment Summit, Matsia Mshe. And we are looking at an opinion piece that really was seeking to cast a lens on the relationship and interactions between big business in South Africa with SMMEs and asking the questions, and what if perhaps big business has it backwards, and what if maybe they can no longer afford to underestimate the value and innovation of small businesses. And in your piece, you say that the real opportunity lays in the collaboration that is not only sustainable but also commercially driven for both. And you speak of that perhaps designing long-term interventions that build capacity and open procurement pipelines and develop solutions together is the way forward. What would that look like, in the business arena in a way that really speaks to the needs of SMMEs in a way that will see growth and sustainability?
On the ground, it will actually look like the SMMEs being part of the process, the thinking process, the development process, from cradle literally to the grave, and not just as a side, activity. Like I indicated earlier, that normally the approach is to treat them, the programs that involve small enterprises as a parallel process that is just geared at enterprise and supply development only, which only allows the boxes to be ticked but doesn't truly transform. But if they are part of the process from the beginning to the end, they're integral to the business, and considering their agility and being in touch with the problems, remember, business is about solving problems. And if you don't know what the problems are,
you're literally designing solutions without being in touch. And SMMEs have that advantage. By literally being on the ground, they have that knowledge of what issues communities are being faced with, well, what products will actually solve people's problems. So by actually getting them into being part of the product development teams, solutions development teams, you will be tapping into a very valuable resource that will not only grow the SMMEs involved, but will also move the big business forward considerably.
And considering that we are in Women's Month, you say there's an opportunity here to also elevate women-led SMMEs just beyond the sort of, the once a year, as you call it, the once a year panels and campaigns.
Oh yes, that's a very long subject. Hopefully, well, another session like this one, Bridget, which is very close to my heart for obvious reasons, being a woman, but also knowing that I have inbuilt empathy, which means I'm great at building relationships. I'm great at understanding what people need. Those are qualities that are needed in the current, connection economy, where relationships are very big in terms of how to run our businesses. We're no longer in industrialized economies where it's all about just in time and getting things done from a mechanical or technical perspective. We're talking, how do we actually mobilize our people? How do we connect with them to actually develop solutions that work and address people's needs? And those qualities are very inherent in women. So we cannot just leave it to a once-a-year event and have a nice summit or Women's Day celebration. It needs to also be integrated in the way business is being done. And that way we will find ourselves not just being inclusive in our approach, but actually solving a whole lot of problems that our societies have.
I think we've just, scratched the surface of this ongoing conversation, and we have to wrap it there for this afternoon. But Matsia, we thank you so much for the time, founder and MD at the Transformation Firm. That is where we leave the show today. Ashraf is standing by to take over between 3 and 6 o'clock. From myself and my team, we will see you tomorrow. Inshallah, God willing, we get to do it again.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Shine so brightly, yet your night is darker than these eyes can see. Release your peace and bring us homeward. I can taste your freedom, though I'm never free. Whoa. Taste your